Hi, this is AJ. Welcome back to the Handyman process. This is a continuation of the series of the Simple Path to Handyman. If you haven't watched the previous videos, I'd recommend you check out that playlist. In this video, we're going to be going over bookkeeping. What is it? Why should you do it? Why is it important? Maybe should you outsource it? So stay tuned as I give a basic overview. I'm not going to dive too deep into this. I'm going to give you kind of the wave tops of what bookkeeping is, some basic tips going forward. And then I'll probably refer you out to a bunch of other YouTube videos that'll really dive a little further into it. So stay tuned. Okay, so in my previous video, dealing with banking, the money coming in, the money going out, it really was touching on bookkeeping, but I didn't mention that term very much because I wanted to show you the bank app first. How do you manage the money, and then the bookkeeping is really, why do you manage the money? So if you look at a definition of what bookkeeping is, it's essentially the process of recording and organizing financial transactions for your business. That's at its basic and most simplest. What are you spending money on? Where is money coming from? How are you documenting that? And if you go talk to, 10 different handymen, you'll get 10 different answers on what they do. Some people like pen and paper. Some people like to outsource it completely. It doesn't really matter what you do or how you do it. What matters is that you do it or you have somebody that's doing it for you, whether you're outsourcing it to a professional bookkeeper, whether you have somebody in your family or your friends doing it for you. But it includes tracking income, expenses, maybe other financial activities you got going on with it. And for a lot of people, it may seem like a tedious task. It's crucial, though, for the health and success of your handyman business. I personally don't mind and like it, or don't mind it, and I do like it. So for me, it's not that tedious. And some people will say, "Well, your time is better spent doing something else." And I'll tell you the way that I do bookkeeping, and keep in mind, if you're new to this channel, I'm a part-time handyman, so I'm not working crazy hours like some of you guys, men and women out there may be doing. So if you're working 8 jobs a day, 5 days a week, what I do may not work for you, or maybe it will. It all depends on the individual. But what I do is I run the Novo system. I run a Novo bank app. And as the transactions happen, as I get money coming in and as money's going out, I generally right there on the spot record the transaction. If I make a purchase at Lowe's for some supplies, I just I always, when I go to Lowe's or Home Depot, I always hit that option where it'll email me a copy of the receipt. I take a paper copy. I take the paper copy, and I actually dump it in this little thing here. And then I have my son goes through later, and he just puts it in a folder for me, just as a paper backup. But my primary means is I open up that Novo app. The transaction shows up usually instantaneously or instantly. And then what I'll do is I'll just take a snapshot of the receipt that I got in email, and drop that in there, categorize it. I'll say it's for cost of goods sold, it's for home office expense, whatever it may be. And that's what I do. So I try to keep it very simple and easy in the way that I do it to kind of meet that basic overview that I just explained. So let's talk a little bit about why it's important. So first of all, if you do it properly, it gives you a financial overview, right? You can see at any given moment where you are financially. Kind of provides a clear picture of your business's financial health. You can easily see how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, where it's being spent in the different kind of categories. So whatever system you use, whether you use a system like I use or some other system, that's really one of the key factors is what's going on with your money. A lot of people don't track this, right? Even in personal life, a lot of people don't track this kind of stuff. So that's the number one reason to do it. A lot of bookkeepers will create financial statements, typical accounting financial statements, such as income reports, balance sheets, cash flow statements, all that kind of stuff. If you're running a big business, that's probably a pretty big deal. If you're running a small business, I get away with it just in Novo. I can see all the money's coming in, where it's going. I run the profit first system. So I already kind of pre-bucket my money in certain categories. So I know um, how much money I have in operating expenses or set aside for taxes. And I'm pretty disciplined with maintaining that. From a cash flow perspective, sometimes you'll be working jobs and um, maybe somebody wrote you a check and it hasn't cleared, and maybe you bought something that hasn't cleared. So understanding how that's balancing out at any given moment, the money you have in your bank account essentially may not be the money you truly have at any given time because of the movement of money, the flow of money, and the timing of it. This is important, especially if you're working for somebody who's like a net 30, net 45, where they're paying you later in time. So you're always kind of sequenced up in that. Personally, I don't do that kind of work. I'm not knocking it. I just don't do it, don't want to do it. It doesn't really bother me. Moving on to number two, why it's important is tax preparation. So I'm a big nerd when it comes to taxes. I got a playlist on taxes you can check out. I'll try to drop it down in the bottom here in the comments. But when it comes to the end of the year and taxes, you don't want to be that guy the accountant hates or the bookkeeper hates. You want to have your stuff together. Um, and any handyman, handywoman that's been in this business for a while, that we've all gone through this learning curve of not having good records initially, hitting the end of the year, doing taxes, feeling like an idiot, and then going through and getting your ducks in a row. And usually people will make a choice at that time after that first tax season is, am I going to do this myself? Am I going to offload this to somebody else? uh, my casual observation says a lot of people offload this to somebody else. So there's a lot of bookkeepers out there, or some of the Facebook groups you may be in. They have bookkeepers. I'm in the Marquette Facebook group, for example, and there's a woman named Tracy Forbes Collins, I believe, who's a bookkeeper. I've actually talked to her before. I'm not endorsing her. I didn't end up using her services. She knew her stuff when we talked. I just ended up doing it myself. But my point is, you can find bookkeepers in various different sources. And if they're more familiar with the systems that you use, whether it's Novo or Marquette, maybe it makes your life a little bit easier because if you do use a system like Novo, you could just download the spreadsheet, send it over to them. They might tell you, hey, make sure you're categorizing things in home office or this or that. So at the end of the year, when you have to fill out that tax paperwork, it's pretty straightforward. And when you look at my tax playlist, somewhere in there, I walk through how I download all of my information from Novo at the end of the year. All that category stuff flows into something called the Schedule C, which is what you need to file taxes if you're a sole proprietor or a single member LLC operating as a sole proprietor or being taxed as a sole proprietor. Um, Moving down the line, we talked about cash flow management. You don't want to run out of money, right? You want to make sure that you know how much money. If you're really relying on this money, you have to take it out to pay the bills. That's even more crucial. Me personally, I'm not in that spot, right? I sometimes I take money out, sometimes I don't. I should say I take money out, and then I drop it in my Wealthfront account to get better interest. But I may not spend that money for several months because I got my day job paying stuff. But if this money's putting food on your table, and your kids' sporting events and all that other stuff is being paid by this, it's crucial that you understand that cash flow and you're not overextending yourself and put yourself in a bind. It could be a real problem for you. Moving down the line, in terms of business growth, bookkeeping kind of provides valuable data for making decisions, right? Should I go this way? Should I go that way? What jobs are most profitable? What areas can I see cost reduction in? What opportunities do I have for growth? If you have the mindset of eventually selling your business, somebody's going to want to see your books, right? And the longer and the cleaner your books are, the easier it is to value your business. So that's another big perk of doing that. Finally, legal and financial compliance. In the previous video in banking, I talked about complying with tax regulations and laws. It also protects you in case of audits. If you get audited and somebody wants to say, "Hey, you said you spent $20 here and $50 there, show me." And if you open up something like Novo and be like, "Yeah, I was at Lowe's. I bought a business book that I use for my business. I bought a new desk," whatever it may be, that compliance is just a piece of cake. Um, I will say this: if you don't do it like I do, if you're going to hire somebody, don't absolve yourself of the responsibility of knowing what that person is doing. If what they're doing you don't understand, you have a problem. So even if you offload it, the way that they do it for you and explain it to you should be very, very clear to you. I had interviewed a few people about setting up QuickBooks when I first started, and I didn't like the way they did it at all. And they're like, "Well, you need this, this, and this." I'm like, "Nah, I don't need that. I kind of know what I need to know. I don't want that burden. I don't want to see it that way. I want to see it this way." And they're like, "Well, that's not the way accounting works." And they were not on board with the profit first system either, which is the way that I'm running the business. So I'm like, okay, that we're not a good fit, right? You're probably a good fit for somebody more traditional, but maybe non-traditional. I don't know. But finding the right bookkeeper that speaks your language, kind of like Dave Ramsey says, they should have the heart of a teacher. If they can't teach you and explain to you what they're doing very simply, you probably need to find somebody else. So keep looking out there. Kind of in conclusion, the essence of bookkeeping, it's the foundation of your business's financial management. It provides the information you need to make sound decisions, ensure profitability, and really achieve long-term success. Because if you go out there and talk to anybody that's been in a handyman business and then went out of business, I guarantee you they did not have a good handle on their numbers, didn't have good insight, wasn't using that information to make decisions. Um, so if this video is valuable to you, if you're getting any information out of it, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up and a like. It's always tough as a YouTube creator to see if people are getting value out of your videos. So it helps us by giving us a thumbs up, letting us know. And if it's not helpful, give me a thumbs down. Let me know, no, man, you're not really speaking my language. I do recommend that you go out and you check out some other resources that are out there on the free website that I set up, iamhandy.org. I have links. There's a tab in there somewhere for banking and bookkeeping where I have some of the podcasts and the YouTubers that I learned from that I resonate with that are on there. So if you think like me or you want some of those resources, go ahead and check out iamhandy.org and you'll see my tab for that. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you on the next one. Take care.